welcome to Debbie's Back Porch. So glad you came for a visit. Today we're going to make butter, and I'm going to talk just a little bit about the difference in butter now and butter back on the farm, today's farm or the old farm. And hey, if you like our video, please subscribe and like. So here's my food processor. It's a 12 cup. And before I do whipped cream or butter or anything like that, I usually give it a quick vinegar rinse. It's plastic, makes me feel better. So just a quick vinegar rinse and then in hot water and dry it out really good. This is probably not important with butter, probably makes no difference at all. It might though with whipped cream, and it's just something I like to do. So this is heavy whipping cream that you buy at the grocery store. It's almost a quart. I used just a little bit of it. It's coming up on the expiration date. I need to use it, so I'm going to make butter. I don't want to lose it. But this is not raw cream. This is not what you would get if you were on the farm. So we just dump the cream in and turn it on. Except I forgot to plug it in. So hold on just a second. Now we turn it on. And very quickly you see this is about a quart. This is a 12 cup food processor. You really don't want to do more than a quart at a time in this size food processor. This is ultra pasteurized cream, meaning there are no natural cultures left. It has a long shelf life. This is usually what you get when you buy heavy whipping cream in the store. So even though this butter is really good, it is really not the same thing as raw milk butter. So I'm going to show you the process as we go along a couple of times. And this is after about a minute, starting to thicken up. So I'm going to check in and show you the progress about every minute to 2 minutes. I wouldn't open it up this often if I were just making butter. This is just kind of show you what to expect. And we're getting loose whipped cream there. It's not making peaks yet. And this is after about 2 minutes of blending. Okay, it's getting thicker. It's been about another minute. I'm going to scrape the sides, which you really probably should do at least once. Another minute, thicker still. You know, just remember, you make whipped cream from whipping cream. You make butter from whipped cream. You see, we're getting a little line of separation there. Okay, let's check it. And you see, that's really whipped cream now. That means we're almost where we want to be. That is holding peaks very well. So now that we have whipped cream, I'm going to scrape the sides and make sure everything is down in there so that it all gets whipped into butter. So we're going to watch this for just a minute because we're right at that point where it's going to be butter. And I want to mention how this is different than the butter I made when I was a kid. Grandma poured up raw cream and let it sour. She called it clabbering and made her butter from that. Whoops, look, there you go. There's your butter. And Grandma's butter tasted different because it had natural cultures in it. It was made from clabbered milk. This is made from sweet cream. Let me show you what we've got here. We're not done beating, but you'll see that it is butter. And back to the story, when we did it with a churn on the farm, and I churned a lot, Grandma made butter out of naturally soured cream. It had natural cultures in it. It soured. We churned it. It didn't take as long, and it had a different flavor. And I personally think it was better. So back in the processor, gonna blend it maybe another minute. We just want to make sure that we get all the butter possible out of this. And you can hear it kind of bogging down. It's getting very thick in there. So let me show you our butter. This was almost a quart of sweet cream, whipping cream. We're going to end up with about a pound of butter, very close to a pound of butter. The question you need to ask yourself at this point is this economical? We know it's good. Is it going to save you money? So now let's drain the buttermilk out of the butter. I've got here a big bowl, a wire colander, and I've got a jelly bag over here. You can use cheesecloth, something kind of small. And then we're just going to pour it in. And of course my blade fell in. Let me get all that butter off of that. So let's get it all. I'm going to scrape out the bowl and get every single bit that I can. Because you know, this is some expensive stuff. And that's why I say you need to figure out if this is economical for you. I don't have access to raw milk or even cheap milk. This cream cost $5 a bottle. And I can buy butter for $3.50 a pound. So the only reason I'm actually making butter out of this cream is because it was nearing its expiration date. If I could get raw milk, or if I had access to a farm or cheaper milk, I would make my butter all the time. So what's left in here is buttermilk. It's not the same buttermilk that you would buy if you just went to the store and bought buttermilk, because there are no live cultures. So it doesn't taste as the same, but it will cook the same, and it will be great for baking. So I've squeezed this out, and I've got my water running here kind of cool. And I'm going to empty this into a bowl and wash away the excess buttermilk residue that's left. Don't make your water too hot, or it'll melt the butter. So stir it around a little, cut it. We just want to rinse off that residue. And I'm going to let it sit for a little bit and let the water drain off. We want it kind of dry. So here we have it. Here is our butter. And I want to get it all off the bag. I don't want to waste a bit. Whether or not you salt this depends on how you're going to use it. If you're going to use it for baking, don't put any salt in it. If you want to use it as a spread, you might want some salt. You might also want to add some herbs at this point, or even some fruit. That's the beauty of this. But just whatever you put in, now's the time to mix it up while it's still nice and soft. Back on the farm, Grandma had a butter press, and you could easily get all that liquid out. You may still have some, and you just keep draining it off. Well, here we have it. We have almost 14 ounces of butter and about 14 ounces of buttermilk. I had about a quart when I started, not exactly. So we didn't lose very much in the process, and that was that little bit of buttermilk that we rinsed off. And maybe a little bit stuck to the jelly bag. But what we have is some rich and creamy and tasty butter. And I know it's tasty because I tasted it. And you know, you salt it or not, depending on what you want to use it for. I usually buy salted butter. If I were going to bake, I would make some unsalted. Right now I've just got a nice fresh piece of rye bread and some nice fresh butter. And you know, if you're going to eat bread, you want some good butter. And that's good butter. I salted it just to the point that we like it. Not very much. Butter's lightly salted. All I need now is some of Ellen Serwick's beautiful homemade bread. Then I would be in heaven. Thank you for joining us on Debbie's Back Porch. Hope to see you again tomorrow.